We start with escalating developments in the Epstein case as Donald Trump struggles to tamp down the deafening uproar. Today, Trump appearing with the president of the Philippines, but unable to change the real subject. Reporters hounding Trump with questions about his deputy attorney general's surprise announcement. Todd Blanche saying he is seeking an interview with Jeffrey Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell.
I don't know anything about it. They're going to what? Meet her?
Your deputy attorney general is reached out to Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney asking for a new interview.
Yeah, I don't know about it, but I think it's something that sounds appropriate to do, yeah.
Do you have any concern that your deputy attorney general, who's your former attorney, would be conducting the interview, given your past relationship with Epstein?
He's a very talented person. He's very smart. I didn't know that they were going to do it. I don't really follow that too much.
Trump then launched into an 8-minute-long debunked conspiracy-laced tirade about Barack Obama, an apparent effort to distract. But it is not working. As for Trump's DOJ interviewing Ghislaine Maxwell, she is currently facing 20 years behind bars for child sex trafficking and other crimes. She, along with Epstein, were both investigated and charged during the first Trump administration. Analysts point out she had the opportunity to provide more information then at trial. As Politico reports, it also raises the question of whether Maxwell may try to leverage the meeting for a reduced prison sentence by telling the Justice Department what it wants to hear. Also today, 2 federal judges demanding more information from Trump's DOJ on its request to unseal grand jury transcripts. Meantime, House Republicans are running from the Epstein scandal. GOP leaders starting the 5-week recess early to avoid votes on releasing the Epstein files. The move generating headlines like these. House flees Washington amid turmoil over Epstein fallout. House largely grinds to a halt over Epstein files. Johnson cuts short House session to avoid vote on releasing Epstein files. Democrats now hammering Republicans.
This is a cover-up of equity proportions where you've got the majority party literally having us leave Congress early.
Isn't it interesting that it takes a conspiracy and theories on that conspiracy to shut down the U.S. House of Representatives? It shows you how deep this administration is in these conspiracy theories.
They're all scared over these Epstein files, and they're afraid there'll be more votes, and we will have more votes.
So that is where we start. House Republicans literally escaping D.C. and avoiding work on multiple pieces of legislation to avoid those questions about Epstein, while Donald Trump desperately tries and fails to change the subject. Maya, I'll start with you. We have the Republicans, I guess, trying to get out of Dodge, get out of D.C. as fast as possible right now. What does that signal to you?
Well, look, I mean, this is a news cycle that is not very helpful to Republicans in general. And also folks want to get back to their districts, let's be honest, because everybody's thinking about how they have to explain how much pain the reconciliation, the big ugly bill package that they passed, how unpopular it is in their own districts. But nobody wants to be close to this news story either. And I think I just want to say, because I was just at meetings at the Capitol here, sitting right near the Capitol, you know, and the conversations that we were having on the Hill were about the people's business. This is primarily what most legislators are preoccupied with.
Epstein is what most legislators are preoccupied with. I'm curious, Basil, on that. Do you think voters are going to notice that basically what's happening right now, what we're hearing from Johnson, is that they are kind of seeing their representatives forced to choose between the voters and what the voters have said through polling consistently they want, which is the release of these files, more transparency there, and I guess what the president wants, which is to get away from this subject as fast as possible? Are people seeing what's gaming out right now?
Yeah, well, you could see the president trying to find everything he can to escape from having to engage this. I mean, they released assassination files related to MLK's assassination, thinking perhaps that would distract attention, and it didn't. And I think to Maya's point and to some points made by some of my colleagues earlier, the Republicans don't want to and can't go back into their district to talk about the budget bill because it's in many ways indefensible, as is any kind of conversation they want to have about Epstein that in some way tries to save Donald Trump from any additional scrutiny. So it's obviously it's a really difficult position for them to be in. But the question is an important practical one. What are the actual electoral ramifications of all of this? Donald Trump's no longer on the ballot, so we are looking at midterm elections here. Donald Trump may be inoculated in some respects only because with a lot of information that voters already knew about him, they voted for him anyway. But if you are a Republican, particularly in a swing district, you have to be really concerned right now because it doesn't look like there's any way to contain this. If Ghislaine Maxwell is then brought before Congress and is talking more about this, and to an issue we talked a bit about the other day, there is likely a network involved. Who's in that network? How is it funded? All of these things are issues that Republicans will likely have to answer for.
Maya, I want to play some sound for you of Alan Dershowitz, who represented Epstein in 2009. He is basically arguing that Ghislaine knows everything. Take a listen.
She is the Rosetta Stone. She knows everything. She arranged every single trip with everybody. She knows everything. And if she were just given use immunity, she could be compelled to testify. I'm told that she actually would be willing to testify, and there'd be no reason for her to withhold any information. So I don't see any negative in giving her the kind of use immunity that would compel her to testify.
So, Maya, I guess my question for you is, as the DOJ now works to set this apparent meeting with her in the coming days, what would the trade look like here? What is she likely to or even able to offer them that I guess she wouldn't have offered many of these same people from the first Trump administration when she was prosecuted years ago? Didn't ask for a plea deal then. So what kind of goods would she have now, Maya?
Well, look, whatever goods she had, she still has. She made a decision to defend herself in that case zealously, and look, that did not go well for her, and now she has spent some years in prison, and that can soften up a lot of people. But I just want to go back to the thing that should disturb us about this. You know, first of all, she has a lot of interest in ensuring that she gets the best deal she can get. She also has the ability to refuse a deal. So the question is, what does she want out of it? And how badly does this administration want to give her a deal that helps them? Whatever that is. And I can't sit in their shoes. But I would say one of the things we know that they are trying to establish is there is no client list after they said there was a client list for Jeffrey Epstein, right? So if there's anything that's going to make this go away for them, they want her to say, no, there is no client list. I mean, otherwise it doesn't go away. Otherwise, what happens is there's just a continuing discussion about what this very people who are sitting in this very administration, in the very Department of Justice, at the head of the FBI, at the head of the department said existed, does not in fact exist. That's the only way it goes away unless they can try to distract with enough other information that suggests, you know, people should look at somebody else. So all I'm saying here is the real deal for Ghislaine Maxwell isn't use immunity. It's trying to get out of jail free card. And we've seen the same administration, the same Department of Justice, go to a New York City mayor, Eric Adams, facing prosecution from the department, and make things go away as long as he made a deal to do what they wanted and needed on immigration. So what have we learned from this department? It's that after having taken a loyalty oath to Donald Trump, which is what he was very explicit about wanting, he's now got his personal defense attorney, who now is in a position of public trust, who is going to have a conversation with a witness who very well may have a very deep interest in giving them whatever answers they want to whatever questions they ask. And I just have to say this. The only thing that matters right here is that we get to the bottom of what happened to these women. And that is not something that is going to happen with this deal.
Basil, how do you think this deal or possible deal would play out with people? Because, you know, we might not find out that much new information, even if she testifies on Capitol Hill. And then if she does get out of jail free card, a reduced sentence or a pardon, she may be the only person who's ever really held accountable for this criminal network. And at a time when so many people are saying, we want to know more about what happened to the survivors, we want to know who the Johns are, who are the men that Ghislaine Maxwell actually connected this entire network to. If you take the one person that you managed to get, and hold accountable publicly for this, and you let them out, will people actually accept that? Would that be seen as a win?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because there are a couple of pieces to that. It seems like we could get a lot more additional information that we did not know, at which point voters and elected officials, the legal community may be able to act on it, or we may know not much more than we already know. So it's a really tough space to be in. But I would say that going back to some of the things I've been considering earlier, this is the importance, underscores the importance of AOC and Bernie Sanders' oligarchy tour, because that's what this is at its heart. It's about the abuse and trafficking of women and girls, but it's also about a potential cover-up of a network of high-wealth individuals, individuals who are not just trying to sort of bring together resources and kind of hoard the economics of our country, for example. They're also trying to colonize more aspects of our lives. All of that power concentrated in a handful of people. There's a lot to dig into there, and including their influence on banks, on the judiciary, and on so many other parts of our government. That's why that tour is very important. That's why what she has to say potentially could open up so much of this. And that's why it's important for Democrats to be prepared with a permission structure. One that if you are inclined to continue to support Donald Trump, you may not be inclined to support the Republicans running for office. So what's going to break in, if not this, to the minds of those voters to say, you know what, this is a bridge too far. That's where we need to get to.